Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on the halo bracelet, which goes with the halo necklace that we did a couple of weeks ago. So here's the necklace, and I wanted to use the this part of the necklace in a bracelet, so I thought I'd do either a 2 or 3 strand. Turned out 3, and I ended up bezeling a fire polish bead, which we will do today. I mean, so much fun. Here's the way it's attached. Oh, I have some right angle weave netting here. So it's like nice and sturdy here. It sits nicely. You've got like the loose strands here. They don't really move around that much, but it's nice to have the structure here on the bottom. I'm going to take it off and give you a look. So this is what it looks like. See, so it's loose in the center and it's got these 2 ends. I have a magnetic clasp on here that I'm going to be taking off. You see how that's loose? I just wanted to show you can use a magnetic clasp, but I think I'm going to change it to a 2 or 3 strand box clasp. But the magnetic clasp works beautifully. Here's the inside where the netting is, so you've got a nice sturdy netting at the end, and I think it looks really pretty. So there you go, there it is. So I'm going to clear the decks and we'll get a materials list going and we'll get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, let's get a materials list going. So you'll need 7 8mm round beads. I'm using a combination of pearls, and I've already bezeled my pearls. I have 7 pearls, and 1 I'm using a Swarovski 8mm purple velvet bead. So pretty, love that bead. So on this one I put a fire polish bead here. You don't have to use pearls. You can use fire polish beads, you can use round beads, dark beads, whatever you want to use. As long as you can get the bezel around it, you're fine. And these beads in between, they can be anything. So I have all 7. Here are my 7 beads. And then you'll need some 6mm round beads. I'm not going to give you the exact amounts on these. You'll need at least 18, maybe even more, because you know, you might change how you do the attachments here, but I have a combination of these really pretty, these are actually faceted real amethyst beads, and I love these gemstones, so pretty, and I'm combining those with the pearls, so my purple and jade theme is going. I've got my purple and jade theme going on here. You need some 4mm round beads. You'll need, if you're doing this ending, you'll need 40 of them for the ends, and then some for in between. Now, the way I connected this guy is with 6mm and 5mm beads, but I didn't have any 5 in the jade, so I'm going to go with 4. You can really use anything on the connection. Again, very forgiving. So go to your stash and see what you have. Let's see, we need some Toho Demi rounds. That's this bead. This is like a little O bead. If you have an O bead, use an O bead, or use an 11-0. Again, very forgiving. I just like the way the O bead looks. I mean, the demi round looks in between the pearls, but you can use anything here, anything you have. You need 11-0 Delica. I have this, 11-0 Delica. I have the 24 karat gold plated hex. You can use a regular Delica, that's fine. I can't find the 18 karat gold again, so I didn't order them when you guys gave me all those websites to order it, and so I went to order a couple days ago. They're all sold out again. Who's buying all these beads? So I have to find a new, I have to wait for these to come in again, or if you have, if you have a place that you've recently ordered from, please let me know, because I blew it last time. So you need some 11-0 seed beads right here. You need some 15-0 seed beads. Okay. You'll need a clasp. I have a 3 strand and a 2 strand. I'm going to see whichever one fits. You can use this magnetic clasp. It worked great. I'm just going to change it because I think I like the look of this better. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Or you can even do like a 2 8mm at the ends, and do loops, do a loop closure, just like, I don't know, we could do that, just like the necklace. If you really want the endings to go, you can just do that closure. That's, that's perfectly fine also. All right, so the clasp, you'll need some 8-pound Fireline, size 10 beading needle. Have a 12 handy because we're going to go through some 15-0s. Did I put in yes, I put those are in. A little stop bead here, anything that I forgot will be in the description box below the video. As I said, everything else will be down there, so please don't forget to click the down arrow or the show more so you get everything. All right, so also please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate that. And I'm going to clear the decks and we'll get started. Okay, we're back, so let's get started. So I'm going to bezel the 8mm beads. So you'll need 7 bezeled 8mm beads. And I have 6 already done in with the pearl, and I'm going to do this is actually a Swarovski round crystal or a fire polish, whatever you want. So we'll do this one. So thread your needle with about 2 feet of thread, put on a stop bead, and like sort of divide the thread in half, a little less after the stop bead. So I've picked up and dropped down to my stop bead 22 of my Delicas. Okay, so I'm going to pull in super tight. And then I'm just going to make these into a circle by sewing up the first couple of beads after the stop bead. So if you've done the necklace, you're pretty much, set with this. So pick up a Delica, I'm just doing a peyote bezel, exiting a Delica, skip a Delica, sew through the next. Get a nice pull. You want to make sure the bead you put on is sitting on top of the previous bead, and you might have to encourage it. I'll pull a teeny bit more. Pick up a Delica, exiting here, skip this one, sew through the next one. I'm going to do that all the way around to the end, and then come on back and we'll step up together. Okay, coming down to the end, step up. So here I am exiting a Delica. Right here, I'm going to skip this one, sew through the next one and the one on the diagonal. Like that. Make sure to pull it. And then I'm going to pick up a 15-0. I'm going to sew through every up bead or sticking out bead. So pick up a 15-0, sew through the next up bead or sticking out bead until you go all the way around, and then step up and then come on back. Okay, we're back. So here's what it looks like. Oh, and excuse my compression glove. I have carpal tunnel, and just sometimes I have to put this little glove on, and it helps. So I apologize for that being there, but it really helps me while I'm doing some intricate work. So here I'm done with this side. So now I'm just going to take the stop bead off and thread the needle that was on there, or thread another needle or put your needle on there, and then we're just going to do the other side. So just make sure you're coming out of an up bead, and then you're just going to pick up a 15-0 and sew through every sticking out 15-0. I've put it on a pencil, my little unit on a pencil. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes to me it's a big pain to put it on a pencil, but it keeps it round. So then just go all the way around, adding your 15-0s, and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So I have both sides done and I've stepped up. Okay, so I'm just going to, it doesn't matter whatever side you want to work on. So here I'm exiting this 15-0 here. I'm just going to advance my needle. I just want to get it sort of in the middle, through the Delica on the diagonal, and then through another one. I'm holding it lightly. Now I'm going to take my bead, and I'm going to make sure the hole is pretty much where my thread is coming out of. And then I'm just going to insert my needle right through the middle of the bezel. Not through a bead, just through the bezel itself. I'm going to see if I can locate the hole. There you go, in the bead. So see, I'm just going right through, coming out the other side, like that. That's just going to attach my bead on. Isn't that fun? So much fun. Love doing these. And then I'm just going to tighten up. So here I'm coming through the middle of the bezel. I'm just going to start sewing around the bezel. So if your bead is like a little different size, or slightly smaller or larger, if it's not fitting in there the way you like, you can tighten it by sewing all the way around the bezel. So I'm just sewing on the diagonal all the way around. You can sew through the outside of the bezel, through the 15-ohs and the 11-ohs on the face of the bezel. Mine's fitting there pretty nicely, so that's all you're going to do. So you're going to do 7 beads in various colors, whatever you want, as far as an 8mm bead, and then you're going to do 6. So here, I'll pull the bracelet out. So here are your 7. So you've got your, oops, let me pull out a little bit. So here's where your 7 beads are. So you have 3 8mm here and 1 in the center, so that's 7. And then you have 3 on each end that are 6mm. So for the 6mm bead, whatever beads you want, either pearls, or faceted, it doesn't matter. As long as it's a 6mm, make 6 of them and use 16 beads around your bezel. So you don't really need me to do the 6mm because it's the same thing. You're just using 16 instead of 22. All right, so get those done. So you have 7 of the 8mm, 6 of the 6mm. So have fun doing that, and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So I have all my pearls bezeled and stones or whatever, fire polish. You can leave your threads on the ends because then it's easy to attach. Especially in the 6mm, you can use them to attach to this piece, or you can just add thread, it doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna, here are my guys, I'm just gonna push these out of the way. So we're gonna work on this piece now. So I switched it up a little bit, and I've decided I was gonna do bicones on the end of my bracelet, and I'm gonna use these purple velvet bicones, but you can, of course, so that's, it's just gonna switch it up like that at the end instead of pearls. I thought, why not give it a try and see how that looks. So let's do the right angle weave netting. So let me pull in. So what we're going to do is you're going to get your 11-oh seed beads, and you're going to thread your needle with about 4 feet of thread, put on a stop bead and enough of a tail to sew in. I'll get myself some space here to work. And I'm going to pick up 8 of my 11-ohs. So I have 8 11-ohs. I'm just going to sew those into a circle, drop them down to the stop bead, and I'm going to sew them into a circle. Just come through the first couple of beads, like that. And then I'm just going to continue all the way around, just to reinforce. Going around, I'm going to come past the stop bead, continue around. So I really want the stop bead on one end and my working thread on the other side, just to straighten it out and just to so it's not in my way. So we're going to actually look at this unit, okay, there we go, as 2 beads on the top, 2 beads on the bottom, 2 on the, let me pop through this one, 2 on the side, so 2 on this side, so here 2. I'm just doing them in groups of 2, 2, and then 2 on the bottom. So that's how I want you to think of this little netting, just like that. So I have 8 beads on, but I'm going to think of them as groups of 2. So I'm going to pick up 6 beads because I want to add another unit on. I have the 2 beads there. I'm just going to hold it with my thumb. I'm just going to sew through the 2 beads on that side. See that? It's going to put another unit on, I know it gets all wonky and it doesn't stay straight, but I'm just going to sew through the next two and the two side beads. If you hold it with your thumb, it, you know, it'll maybe stay a little bit straighter. Sometimes I take my needle and I just straighten everybody out to make them look kind of, you know, like the groups of two. You can think of it as ceiling, floor, walls, anything that helps you get through right angle weave. Okay, so I'm going to pick up another 6. I mean, there are just various ways, you know, however you can visualize it so that it works for you. So pick up 6 beads. Sitting here, I'm going to sew through the 2 side beads, just around the other side, to put on another unit. Sewing through the 2 top beads. So there are my 2 top beads and the 2 side beads. So then I have another unit on, and you can, like I said, you can either go around again or you can just sort of straighten them out with your needle, just visually, so it looks, you know, it's not going to stay, but sometimes if you look at it, you know, if you can straighten them out and then visually it looks a little easier. So that's 4, 5, 6 beads. Do that again. Just sewing through the 2 on the side to put another unit on. Sewing through the bottom 2 beads and the side 2 so that I have my next unit on. Just like that. So I'm just going to let you get to these 4 units and then come on back and we'll continue. So let's continue. So here I'm exiting the 2 side beads here. So I want to turn around and go in this direction. So I'm just going to sew through the next 2 beads like that. This is where I want your thread exiting. Going to pick up 6 beads. 6. Exiting here, just sew around through the other side of that group of 2. Like that. You have another unit on. So we're going to be going this way. So this is right angle weave, so everything is sewn in right angles. So I'm exiting here. I'm just going to make a right angle and sew through these 2. Oops. And you know, the units, you know, no longer stay square, but you'll get it. I still have 2, 2, 2, and 2. So if I want to straighten it out a little, I can just pull this one over. So do that. That gives me, it's a little better, okay? So now I want to put another unit on right here. So I have 4 beads. I have 2 sides, so I have, let's say, a wall and a floor, if you want to think of it that way. So I only need 4 beads to make a unit here, just to connect to these other units. So here, so I'm exiting here. I have picked up 4 beads. Just going to sew through these 2. So that's like, here, see the little corner there? And then when I come through, I have another unit on. Then you're just going to sew up through the unit, so these 2. Remember, everything is on right angles. These 2. Oops, I think I have a 15 stuck in there. And see how my unit is getting square? And these 2. I'm just going to leave that 15-0 in there just for the video purposes so that I don't have to stop and take it out. But just be careful. Okay, so here I am. I'm exiting the top 2 right here. You want to come up through these 2 side beads. So you see everything is at a right angle so that you have no thread. You see that's like a little intersection there? Everything's sewn at right angles to add these units on. Now I have some other right angle weave, probably videos that are easier. I'll link those in the description box below the video if you have, you know, if you are challenged with this. I mean, it's a tough stitch. Let me see if I can get rid of some of my shadows. No, not working. Okay, come here. Okay, so I'm exiting here. So I want to use these two beads and these two beads as one corner, pick up 4, sew through these 2. I mean, even if if you're new to this and you want to just continue with this video, just follow my hands and don't worry. So I've attached it, so now I'm going to sew up through this one. Just follow my hands. And the only thing that gets you really good at this is practice. Making a right angle, sewing through the top 2, like that. Now I'm going to add, I have my 2 sides again, here and here, the corners. I need 4 beads. Yeah, just practice. Just, and taking it out and practicing and taking it out and practicing, redoing it. So here, 4 beads. I'm going to sew through this guy. These 2 right here. So thinking in groups of 2. Right? Through the next 2. So that's either the floor or the ceiling of the previous group or side, whatever you want to call it, and then right angle up these 2. Okay, so now I have, let's see if I can straighten these out a little bit so they look a little bit more like squares. That's not too bad. All right, so now I have the two rows of my netting on. So you're just going to continue doing that. So you're going to repeat putting, put 6, and then you're going to add, to each unit until you have 5. So you have 4 units this way, so you want 5 this way. So have fun, play with it a little bit, and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So here's our piece. Now, if you had trouble with this, like I said, go back to the videos in the description box below this video and click on the links, and there are a couple of them there, or several, that I use large beads, and I really teach it slowly, so I want you to be able to do that, so check those out. I don't want you to get frustrated. All right, so here's my little grid. So now I'm going to add the bicones. All right, so I'm just going to pick up a bicone. So I'm exiting this side group. And with this, you just want to make sure if you're using a bicone, because you want them all facing in one direction, just make sure that you are always adding them, and I'll show you from the same group of beads on each row. And I'll show you what I mean in a second here. So here I'm exiting these 2. Again, I'm using the 2 beads as one sort of, so I'm coming out of the top of this bead. You want to make sure you come up through the bottom of the neck. So you're putting it on at a diagonal, but that's what makes it stay. So you always want to make sure if you're coming out of the top bead that you're going up through the bottom bead on the other side of that little unit, like that. And then you're doing that all the way to the end. So you're always coming out of the top. You're going to sew through the bottom. Exiting here, sew through there. Again, like that. All right, so now I want to move my thread to this line. So I'm just going to sew through these 2. I'm just sewing around this unit, this last unit. Sew through these 2. The next 2 of the unit, and here I'll pull. See, just like that. Down this one, or these 2, and then I want to come out of the side beads again, so I'm sewing throughout this unit. So the great thing about right angle weave is that you can just sew through all the beads and, get in the correct direction by just sewing around the units. So it's really, really good to learn this and to be really comfortable with it. All right, so here, now I'm coming out of here, I'm just going to sew those 2. I just don't do that all the way down. Just making sure that I'm always either using the same 2 beads in the same direction. And so here, bottom here, so through the top, you're sewing on the diagonal. These pretty purple velvet, these are AB. So here. And then you're just going to get to your next line, your next row of boxes. So I'm just sewing through the top of this one, through the 2, side beads. Through the two on the bottom, and then back through, or up through these two on the side, just so that my beads are all facing in the right direction. And up here, just so through on the diagonal, through these two, and so on. And that's what you're going to do for the whole grid. And then come on back and we'll start putting these together. And this kind of reminding me of the, what was it, the crystal bling ring? Or I forgot the name of it. That was cool. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So I started putting my, stringing my beads on. So what I'm doing is, what I've done is I've determined what I want my center strands, how long I want them to be. So for my set, this bracelet is 7 inches. It's including the clasp. The center part here, the strands are about 4.5 inches, and then the rest is the netting and then the clasp. So if you want to do a 7-inch, almost 7 inches, slightly under 7 inches, that works really well. If you have a larger wrist, or if you're making it for somebody with a larger wrist, just adjust the beads you string on. This is just stringing at this point. You can be very creative here and do anything you like with your stringing. So what I've done is I have these two ends are exactly the same, and then I have, it changes slightly in the middle. I am using all 6mm beads here. These I think I did 5 and 6 on this one, and I used 4 and 6 on another one. So I just played with it until the interior fit properly, all the strands fit properly, and it was fun kind of playing with it. So this strand here, we'll do this strand, I started it already. It's just going to mimic this one. So I've threaded my needle with about, I don't know, a couple of feet of thread. I put on a stopping and left enough of a tail to sew in. Here I strung my first bezeled bead that I made, and see how I put pins through them so I could find the hole. However, if you didn't do that, it's not a big deal. There's not much real estate to go around in order for you to find the hole, so just poke through in the center until you get to the hole. So I put on my first bezeled beads, 2 of the Demis, a 6mm, a Demi, this other 6mm, which looks like a 5mm to me, a Demi, a 6mm, a Demi, the 8mm bezeled bead. So I'm just copying this. So I'm doing a Demi, a 6, a Demi, what looks like a 5, but it says it's 6. This is the gemstone bead. Find the hole on that. Oops. There, a Demi, another 6mm pearl, like that. Here's my next 8mm pearl that was bezeled, and I'm just going to pop through, just like a bead. Well, it is a bead. Okay, so you see how where it sits in relationship to the other one, so they're going to be on top of each other, and then there's one here, so you have this little 3 unit, sort of 3, or like a point here. That's how it should sit. And then I have a Demi, a 6mm pearl, a Demi, a 6mm, a Demi, a 6mm pearl, 2 Demis. And the reason I put 2 at the end is because I needed that little extra space. So if you need a little extra space and you just need a tiny bit, you can just like strategically put more Demi rounds in. Just make sure you repeat it so it looks like a pattern. So here I'm going to put my 6mm on. So there's my last bead I'm putting on, and I'm done with that one. So you're just going to do 2 of those, and then here, this one, just like take a screenshot of this so you see, or I'll just hold it here for a minute or so, and so you see how the middle is done. So the middle, I have the 6mm bezel, 2 Demis, a 6mm, a Demi, an 8mm, a Demi, a 6, a Demi, a 6, a Demi, a 6, a Demi, and 8, the 8mm Swarovski stone faceted bead, a Demi, an 8, a Demi, an 8, a Demi, an 8, a Demi, an 8mm pearl bezel, a Demi, a 6, and 2 Demis, and then I have my bezeled gemstone there. So I just kind of, I just put it in a pleasing manner the way I like it. So you, like I said, you can take a screenshot of that, and then, so get all that done, and then come on back and we'll attach the end. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So my 3 pieces are done, and now we're going to connect to the netted pieces. So here, I've left the tail on one side so I can use it for my clasp. However, you don't have to do that. You can add the clasp separately. I always recommend that. That way, if it breaks, you're not taking the whole thing apart. But I'm just going to leave it and probably use it for my clasp anyway. So, okay, so we're going to connect to here. So here's my bottom piece. So I have, these 2 are the same, and this one's different, the center one. So I'm just going to, so ideally, you want to be coming out of a center Delica. See that? So that's just about center for me, so that works out. You can kind of, nudge it a little bit to make sure you're coming, you can come out of a center, because you'll be coming through the bead at that moment, at that time. So you just want to move your thread so you're exiting a Delica when you put this on, when you attach it, okay? So here I'm coming out of a Delica. Going to pick up an 11-0. Actually, I'm going to turn it this way. Let me get resituated here because it's easier for me to sew in this direction. So I'm picking up, just see where I'm coming out. Okay, I'm picking up an 11-0. Just going to sew through the last 2 beads. So I have 2 groups here, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. So just the last one. And you just want to make sure you're going around the Delica in the right direction. So I'm exiting here, and I'm not. So that's always good to, it's always good to see this, right? So I'm exiting. Where am I coming out? Oh, I am good. I'm good, actually. So I'm exiting this Delica on this side. I'm just going to sew through this direction. Okay, so you want to be going around, right? And then I'm going to pick up another 11-0. Then I'm just going to sew through the Delica that my thread is coming out of, so the other side of that Delica. So it's like you're doing it into a circle, right? Like that. So here, let me move my hand out of the way and I'll show you the thread path. So see the thread path just going around like that? 1 bead on one side, 1 on the other. Pull in super tight. See? Tighten that up. Go through it again. If you have to change to your size 12 beading needle, do that. So there you have your first piece on. Now you're just going to, you can do it again, come through the beads. So I'm just sewing, I sewed through this 11-0, through these 2 that were on the piece, and now I'm going to, kind of bury my thread in this piece, in the netted unit. So I'm sewing through these 2, and then maybe I'll go this way, and then this way. So I'm just sewing around like that, and then I'm just going to pop right through one of the openings there to the back. So I'm exiting these 2 beads here. I'm just going to grab a thread, make a half hitch knot, and then sew through another 2. And you can do that a couple of times on the back just to get that nice and secure. So go ahead and do that, and then do the next, you do the center one, and then do this one, and then do the other sides as well. You can just attach the other side, you don't need me for that. And then come back and we'll put the clasp on. All right, see you. So we're done, and I've chosen the 2-strand box clasp, which I just think is so pretty, and put it on very simply. So here I put one end on, let's put the other end on. So I'm just going to add a thread. So I want to work with these beads here, these 2 and these 2, groups of 2. So I'm just going to sew through. I just want to get to the bead, so I'm just going to sew back a little bit on the unit. Like that. So I'm coming out of these two beads right here. Going to pick up an 11-0, the clasp, one end of the clasp and the 11-0, and I have these little rings on the end. If you don't have those, you can just add a little jump ring. I'm just going to sew through these two. That's going to place one end on. Now I'm going to sew down through these two. So again, I'm moving my thread around so I can get to these beads here. So just using the units as a thread path. And then through these two, an 11-0 through the loop or the ring, and then another 11-0 through these two in the center. There we go, like that. See how that puts it on? And then you just want to sew back through all the beads. So I'm going back into my units here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew back through all the beads, and then I'm going to reinforce that a couple of times until I feel that it's nice and strong. So get that done and then come on back and we'll look at our bracelets. Okay, we're back and here's the bracelet. So I love it, and I love I love turquoise and amethyst, or turquoise and purples together, and I love mixing gemstones with the pearls. So just go for it, and fire polished beads, go for it, and with whatever beads you have. You know, I'm sure you can find stuff in your stash to do this. I really like the ending. I think the box clasp came out great, very sturdy. Of course, I have to sew it in to make it a little stronger. I even like the bicones on the end, just something a little different. So here's the white bracelet with the white necklace, and here is the silver necklace. Again, I will put a link to these pieces in the description box below the video if you want to make them. Also, when I bezeled the coin pearl, we made a pair of earrings out of that. I'll put a link for that one as well. And I have a bracelet coming up with the coin pearl as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.